Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lunch for the Soul. This is 20 minutes of empowering conversations where we can all learn from each other. I always have unbelievable guests on, most of them who have had some type of catastrophic medical event in their life, but they are now on the other side, and we can learn from them and learn how they get through those hard days. And what a perfect person we have today to bring in to share with you her journey the past dozen years. So let's put our hands together in advance to bring up Katy Hayes. Katy, welcome to Lunch for the Soul.
Hi.
I'm so happy to see you.
Thank you.
It's been a
Great to
while
be
since
here.
I've gotten to catch up with you, and I've been covering your medical journey the past dozen years or so, and what an honor to be with you today. I want to go back and let's just take our viewers to where you've been. I want to make sure they know in advance that you have a new book that just came out so they can learn even more about you, and we'll get to that in a little while. But for now, what happened in 2010 that changed your life forever?
Well, in 2010, I gave birth to my third child. She was a beautiful 9-pound, 13-ounce baby. I had her at my home, and the birth was amazing. My pregnancy was amazing. There was no complication, no red flags running off. And I had a blood infection that developed over 4 days after I gave birth to her. And ended up in the hospital, going right into a coma, and didn't wake up for 2 months. And when I woke up, I was in a new body and said, "What happened?" It was awful.
Yeah, but you have had a smile on your face through so much of this, and you're so encouraging to others going through a hard time. But I know there have been plenty of tears shed through the years of trying to figure out how to do everything different, right? So the decision had to be made to start removing your limbs one at a time in order to save your life. And that's what doctors did. They did whatever they could to make sure that you're still here. And you are today after all this time. How did you dig deep on those dark days when things have been going so tough for you?
Well, it's amazing. We are all spiritual beings having a physical experience. And I think that when we hit the hard times, we have to reach deep into our soul and find out what makes us tick.
Mhm.
And, having a very solid upbringing with some awesome people that were my parents, they instilled in me a lot of love and a lot of support and a knowing that I am an amazing person. And so you just pick yourself up.
Mhm.
I'm a Midwestern girl that grew up in the snow. You didn't cry, you just figured it out. And you had to move forward, because if you stand still, you die. I mean, it's just as simple as that. You have to make a decision if you're going to get bitter or you're going to get better. And I decided I had to get better because I'm the mother of my family.
Mhm.
And mothers are the hub of the family. You are the structure that everyone takes from. And when you
Mhm.
realize how heavy of a responsibility that is, that means that if you go through a hard time, you got to figure it out and
Yeah.
come out the other side.
Well, before all of this happened to you, you were well known in the area to be one of the best massage therapists of all times. And I know that you tried that and you dibbled with it a little bit afterwards, and it was very difficult. But I want to make sure that everybody realizes what you're doing now. So I want to direct everyone's attention behind you for a moment instead of your pretty face, and look at all those paintings. I'm going to show them a close up of one of them behind you. You figured out that you did not have to have your arms to paint, that you could pull this off. So tell us how you are able to do this. It is so beautiful. And I have actually taken one of your painting classes, and I didn't come close to anything like this. But tell us how you do it.
Well, what's fascinating and what I like to tell everybody is that a lot of things that we think are in our hands, like the knowledge that we have, my handwriting perhaps, or driving a car, or painting a picture, all of it's in our hands. Well, it's not. It's in our brains. Our brains are amazing. And so I'm able to drive a car. I'm able to make a signature that's the exact same as when I had my hands, except, of course, I'm a little challenged. I have to put the pen between I figured out how to put it between my cheek and my arm. I was actually watching an artist on YouTube who was painting like that. And I said, girl, get a cuff like I do. I paint with a cuff, shove the brush up in a cuff and then I can paint.
Yeah.
But she taught me how to write with a pen. Because I'll be out and about and I don't have my cuff with me and I need to write. So I use that technique all the time and it works great. So anybody that I have this funny thing I do. Thank God for smartphones. That's how I run my life. And having that, the ability to push the buttons on my phone with my tongue is actually something I'm very grateful that I have a pointy tongue. And so that's kind of my joke around people. I'll say, hey, what kind of tongue do you have? Is it pointy or round? And when they stick their tongue out, if it's round, I say, you're really going to be in bad shape if you lose your arms, because with a round tongue you can't use your phone. So people always go, what? They kind of look at you like, what do you mean if I lose my arms? Well, you never know what's coming down the road. I'm just saying, you got to have a pointy tongue to survive. That's one of my secret powers. I'm letting you in on it.
That is probably something no one's ever thought about. And I love that you figured out how to live life. Look at you here on the beach. Tell me about how you've learned to just live as good as you can live.
Well, thank goodness I'm not a real heavy set lady, because that would really inhibit my flexibility and my movements. People have to lift me. Let's say I'm going to the beach with my friend, my caregiver, Patty. She's here today. And she basically lifts me, and I'm only about 100 pounds. So she throws me in her car, and then, well, that's, she puts me in her car, but you know what I mean? And see my little chair in that picture. It's my portable chair. It's the one that I went on airplanes with when my parents died. It collapses like a stroller, and you put it in the trunk of your car. She's got kind of a tall vehicle, so I don't need to collapse it every time, which is really nice. And so it's 50 pounds. She puts it in the car. This is how we go grocery shopping. And she just picks me up, puts me in my chair, and we go grocery shopping. Like tomorrow I'm getting a massage. And, whenever I need to get out, she's always there for me. So I'm just really, really grateful and lucky that I have such a wonderful person in my life, that she's been with me a year, and she's just the backbone of my existence. I don't know where I'd be without her. Like, she's the reason I have the wind under my wings, that song. But being that flexible with the chair and the fact that I'm not real heavy set, those are things that are like survival for me. I can't get too fat, or people can't.
You have such a good sense of humor. And I wanted, instead of putting the picture on top of you, to just show in the upper right hand of everyone's screen of you behind the wheel. So you've had the opportunity to drive, but that brings its own challenges right down to the vehicle, doesn't it?
The challenge right now for me, I've not been successful. The state has not given me a modified vehicle yet. There's a lot of misnomers because people see me driving and think I'm driving already. And it's like, no. So I need to hold a job, and it's going to be very expensive to have the car payment with the insurance. So I'm a little bit nervous about my future with this car. I really want one. I want to be independent and get out on my own, but I don't have the funds right now. So I'm selling my book and my art, trying to do my thing, but I need to get a job.
Sure. Well, your art's incredible. I'm going to show a few more pictures in this upper right-hand screen. Look at this. And I love just the simplicity of that one. It's so very beautiful. And these just
really
speak to me. And this one's so funny. I love those logs on the campfire. Do people feel like they can really relate to these? And you teach people how to paint like this. Are you still doing that as well?
I am, but there's really not a lot going on there because of coronavirus hit, and it killed all the business. And then it's been so slow coming back. And really my community of Kingwood, just not an artistic community. They're much sports oriented people. So I've really not been able to fill classes, and it kind of makes me sad. But I try to let everybody know that if you have 10 or more friends, I'm available, and let's go,
let's spread that word. And you do have some people who, like this gentleman, has bought a lot of artwork from you, I understand.
He's a local musician. He's an awesome guy. He's just the best guy.
Oh,
I love him.
How wonderful to be able to have that. And then, okay, so let's just talk about some things that you've gone through along the way and how you worked through it. So I remember, I believe it was Boston where you moved for a while, quite well, even a few years, right? Trying to get arm prosthetics. And I was so hopeful.
No, it was arm transplants. I was
Our
going to get
transplants, I'm
human
sorry, the
arms.
transplants. And we were so hopeful that that was
Yeah.
going to be such a difference for you, that it would give you just a whole new way of life and living, right? Talk to us about that journey and how hard it was that that didn't end up coming through.
Well, I sat in Boston for 2.5 years waiting on the call. So that was kind of torture, being crammed in a little apartment with my husband and my two children for 24/7, for 2.5 years, waiting for that call any minute, and having to wrap my brain around the fact that I was going to have somebody else's arms sewn onto mine, and that I had to make them work and get the nerves to go to the hands, and how different my life would be. And the rehabilitation to get them working was really intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's actually a real blessing that they didn't come, because they would have killed me. I didn't realize at the time that my kidneys were so bad. The sepsis really destroyed my kidneys. I'm really suffering with kidney disease right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the medicine for the anti-rejection for the arms would have just completely destroyed my kidneys.
So it was meant to, it was one of those unanswered prayers, it sounds
Yes,
like.
exactly.
And now look how you've been able to use your arms as your livelihood now. And
Yes.
it's just incredible. So talk to us about how you're able to do that. So I've seen how you've been able to strap on a paintbrush.
Yes.
Walk us through how you came up with that idea and then be so intricate with it.
Oh, well, here I was in Boston, bored to tears, right? Needed something to do to keep me out of trouble. So my mom sent me some money for Christmas, and I had painted before, and I thought, well, I'll just paint the building we're in, and, little flowers outside. Well, a lovely lady named Carla Wallace down here in Texas, she bought that painting of me in the Reservoir Towers in Boston and said to me, that is amazing work. You need to do more of this. You could sell these. And I thought, what? No, nobody wants my art. Well, I had my 15 minutes of fame going, Miss Above Elbow Transplant double, first one in the world. And so the world was just my oyster. And I started selling art. I made like $30,000 the first year. It was just boom, 17 a week. My husband was going to the post office mailing out my art. And I felt like, oh my God, people like my art. I was so excited. Yeah, but it's a little bit slower than that now. The shine's worn off. You know how that works. You're out there doing your thing, and now I can hardly get $100 for a big one,
Well, we need to just figure out a way to get you to Houston, because I feel like Kingwood has wrapped their arms around you. They've done what they can to help
They
the
have.
past dozen years, but only so many times can they maybe go to a painting class, right? We need to get you a bigger market going on here.
Yes.
And I know that's easier said than done, but maybe that can be our next step of all trying to figure out how to help make that happen, because
I would love that.
you're so
because there's a
talented.
lot of venues down in Houston that I can
Oh
work
yeah. And the thing about art is I love to have artwork around my house that has a story behind it. I have some of your paintings in my house, and I love for people to just pause and look and wonder and ask. And the story of telling them, about you and what you've been through, I just think it gives people a lot of hope. It makes people maybe not feel sorry for themselves, right? Do you hear that sometimes?
Exactly. And that's what I'm all about. And that's what my book's about. It's an
Yeah.
inspiration. It's a book that
Mhm.
is a page turner, and you can't put it down. And you really get to hear some of my crazy stories of my life. I've had a very colorful life, and I'm very grateful for the journey that I've been on, because sometimes, when you're in my situation, you realize I'm never going to ride a bike again. I'm
Mhm.
never going to ski down the hill again. I'm never, there's so many things that I'm never going to do the same again. Swim, you know what I mean? All of it. And I have all those memories. And so the book really takes you on that journey of my life and the things that I did. I worked on a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie set. There's just so many surprises in the book that you're going to go, this girl's had quite a life.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to the losing of the limbs and what it did, it destroyed my family. It killed my marriage. It destroyed my children. I've lost everything.
Mhm.
And the place that I had to reach, like you said in the very beginning of this broadcast, where I had to go to pull that strength up out of me, was a God thing.
Mhm.
It's totally, and you get that from the book. You really understand that the spirituality that
Mhm.
I had to dig deep into is universal. It's in every single.
And we can hopefully get help through your book. I'm showing a screenshot from Amazon right now where they can find Beautifully Broken. Is there any other place that they can find your book besides Amazon?
Well, I'm going to do some book signings here in Kingwood, and I really don't have any venues set up. I was thinking of just going to the HEB and sitting out front,
Yeah,
where people
yeah,
are, you
yeah.
know. Yeah,
Is there any other store, any bookstore, or is Amazon the best place to get it? Amazon's the
yeah,
place?
Amazon's it
Okay.
right now.
Okay. Well, that's
Yeah,
easy. I think that's about the easiest option for anybody these days. I just wanted to make sure we weren't missing any opportunities there. And then I want to talk about your precious family. So we have adorable pictures of Christmas time with your daughter. What was that like?
yeah, Ariel, she's going to be 13, so it's going to be I always equate her age to my anniversary, my ampuversary.
Mm-hmm.
February 10th is her birthday, and then February 14th, Valentine's Day, is when I went in the hospital. So it's always kind of like a bittersweet, and it's been really hard. I've gone through a whole lot in the last 5 years, have been the hardest for me. And she's just been there the whole time cheering me on. She's my cheerleader.
Mm-hmm.
Mom, you can do it. She's my light. She's my life. And I
I
have an older daughter too, who's now pregnant again. She's given me a grandson, and she named him Jake after my son, her brother that passed 2 years ago. It was very traumatic. It was all part of the divorce and the difficulty we endured. He was on your broadcast about right before it all happened,
Mhm.
and
I
it was just
remember him. He was such a bright young man and such a precious boy. And I'm so sorry about that loss. I don't know that you think that you can't endure anymore and then you lose your child. How did you get through that dark hour? Did you paint?
same way I did the others.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to reach deep. And the thing about Jake's death that really changed me was that I realized that we are infinite beings. This is just a moment in time, and I'm going to see him again. And he's good. He's good on the other side. He's back with source, and
Mhm.
he's probably my grandson, because I believe in
Mhm.
reincarnation.
Mhm.
It just makes sense to me that we don't ever die. There's no such thing as death. And so
Mhm.
I've really had to get some peace with that, is
Mhm.
that he is fine. He is great. And, when people ask me about him, I really want to say my son's on a spiritual journey,
Mhm.
and it makes me feel good because I
Oh yeah.
know that, he goes on and I'll see him again. And,
Mhm.
and it gives, I think that that's a strength, and that we can pull from that as human beings, because we all lose people, and it
Mhm.
hurts so much that you're never going to see them again and talk to them. It hurts so much. So if you can just understand that they're really not dead, they're just
Mhm.
on the other side of the veil, and we can't
Mhm.
talk to them anymore.
Well, just keeping their memory alive in whatever way you can, I feel like helps too. I
Exactly. And I
remember
had
the last time I saw him, I was in your backyard and I remember he was jumping on the trampoline and couldn't even talk him into coming inside to finish up shooting video. He was just having so much fun out there. And that's how I want to remember him, is just so
exactly
full of life and
full of
knowing that
life.
he brought you so much happiness along the way. And I know it's been really hard. I'm sorry I don't have pictures to pull of him. I didn't know if it would be too emotional for you. And then I didn't have permission from your older daughter. So I wanted to protect their privacy in this. So
I
just know
understand.
that we love all of them. I don't want anybody to feel left out.
Exactly.
But again, just trying to protect privacy there. But
Sure.
again, we take a look at these photos of you and you're getting around. So tell me about how you're able to get around using these. Is it painful? Is it so helpful you don't care? What is that like for you?
So my those are my stubbies that I stand in and I walk in. Those are really for exercise because when you're a above joint amputee, the prosthetics go right up into your nether regions, and there's absolutely no way I could live in them because I also don't have a large intestine, so that puts me in the bathroom a lot, and I would actually be a fall hazard if I was to live in those legs. There's no way I can get on the commode without falling because they are hard plastic on top of hard plastic, and that is not a good situation. So that's my exercise. I walk around my house, and if I'm lucky enough to do it, maybe twice a year is about all the physical therapy that I get. It's not a lot. And with my kidney issues, I really need to be exercising more. So it's like I'm always in between the rock and the hard place in my life. It's like financially, I skate on a dime, and physically, and what's going on in my body, I'm always on the dime. Like that balance between health and being in the hospital is a dance that I do. I go in the hospital about twice a year with infections, UTIs and things that I just can't seem to get out from under. So it's kind of just something I've surrendered to, that I really try hard to like eat only vegetables and eat clean because my kidneys can't handle the protein anymore. And so there's like a whole lifestyle change I've made, and it's really not easy, but I want to be here for my kids, and every decision I make about my life, it has to do with being here for my kids and my grandkids. Like I want to stick around, and I know that I could get really sick and it could go really bad. So I've got to be very vigilant. And so, yeah, it's a real balance.
Well, it sounds like you're doing everything you can, which I know they appreciate, so that they can have you for the long haul. But Katy, thank you for being here today. Thanks for
Oh,
sharing
thank
your journey.
you.
And everybody, remember, Beautifully Broken. Please go there, help support Katy. How do they find out more about your painting classes if they want to help support you?
Well,
You have a website? Can they find you on Facebook? How do they find you?
KatyPaints.com. You can buy a painting there.
Okay.
KatyPaints.com with a Katy. And I'm on Facebook as Katy Paints.
Okay.
And I have all my information right there on Facebook.
Perfect.
I'm really not sure. I guess they'd have to find my phone number or my email to
Okay. Well, I'll just tell them if you want to get in touch with Katy, you can also email me at Fox. So it's melissa.wilson@fox.com, and I will forward it to you, Katy.
Oh, fabulous.
But, yeah, everybody find her on Facebook, Katy Paints, right?
Yes,
all right. Okay. Take care of you.
Oh, thank you. And I've got so many great reviews for the book. Everybody's loving it. It's a page turner. Good. It'll change your life.
Well, I am going to order my copy now. So I wish I had gotten to do that before we talked, but I haven't had the chance. So that is next on my list, girl. Take care of you. God bless you.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right. Good to chat.
Good to chat with you.
And thank you all for being here. If you happen to tune in late and you say, hey, you know what? I want to see the rest of that. You can always find us on Fox 26's YouTube page. It's as easy as that. And then every Wednesday, same place, same time, right here. I hope to see you back next time. Thanks for being here. Have a beautiful day.